Hello, this is Gradye Parsons, and this is our continuing series as we look at the new foundations of polity, which are the part of the Book of Order. This new section was adopted along with the new form of government in July of 2011. And now we are trying to go through this section by section and look at how this fits in with our Book of Confessions and how it applies to our life in the church. Today we're looking at F10403, Unity in Diversity. As many of you were baptized into Christ, have clothed yourself with Christ. There's no longer Jew or Greek. There's no longer slave or free. There's no longer male and female, for all of you are one in Christ Jesus. And if you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's offspring, heirs according to the promise. And where I see a connection is to the Second Helvetic Confession in section 5.127. I'm sort of going to summarize this. There's one called the church militant, the other called the church triumphant. The former still wages war on earth and fights against the flesh, the world, and the prince of this world, the devil, against sin and death. But the latter, having been now discharged, triumphs in heaven immediately after having overcome all those things and rejoices before the Lord. Notwithstanding, both have fellowship and union with one another. We are all individuals, and we are all unique in our own way. We all have a particular set of things that have made us who we are. There's more and more research now into DNA and how different parts of our DNA make us clearly who we are. The color of our hair, the color of our skin, the shape of our jaw, all those things come down to us from folks. Also our surroundings, whether we grew up in big cities or a small town. I was in an event recently, and there's someone there who grew up in the same town that I did, and we instantly have a whole world of connections as we talk about teachers we had in commons and places we would go and different kinds of folks that we knew. So we have all these things that are in common, and yet there's always this distinctiveness about people. There's also a tendency to want to push away from people who aren't like us. There's a new article in a recent issue of Newsweek about tribalism, how tribalism in itself is almost built into our DNA, that we seek to be in tribes of people who think like us or be like us, and kind of push away from others who aren't. But part of our understanding of what it means to be church and what it means to be a people of God is that even though we are all very diverse people, we are all united in baptism in Jesus Christ. And that makes us distinctively a community, a covenant community, a family of people who are different and yet together, a family of people who are trying to love each other and to live into their life together in Christ, but still something unique about them all. Now this is very different. This is a very different witness than the world gives. And this is why it's so important for us to try to reflect this witness. And this is a question you need to wrestle with also in your own particular congregation and in your session, is how is our unity? How is our unity in all the different people that we are? How is it reflective of a different standard, a different ethic than the world has? In the world, where people are trying to push each other away just to stay with their own kind, in the church we're trying to all realize that we are all the same in Jesus Christ, that we all come to Christ the same way, that Christ died for all of us. No one receives the grace of God except through that way. And how do we reflect this common understanding that we all stand before God as God's children, no super brothers or super sisters, but just sisters and brothers, children of Christ, in the same even plane for the church. That's really what the heart of the unity and diversity is. There's not some culture that's better than another. There's not some part of the body that's more equipped than the other. All those parts are needed together, and coming together we make the church. In all our crazy ways and all our unique ways and all our eccentric ways, all these things coming together, this diverse pieces make the church. So the question I have for you is how is diversity lived out in your church? How is diversity seen in your church? How is diversity experienced in your church? Does everybody have some sense that they are of value in your church? Is everybody given a chance to make a contribution in your church? Are people's gifts affirmed even though those gifts may be very different? Are all those things affirmed? This is all part of our understanding of church, that no matter how your gift mix is, it's an accepted gift in God, and those gifts are equal before God. So my challenge to you is to go back and look at your church and to say, who are these people? And how are all these different people related to each other? And how do we reflect this diversity that God has created on the planet, but is all one in Jesus Christ. Thank you, and we'll talk again.